Anglican bishops in Anambra came touring the facilities of government, heavily built by our dear Governor, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, CFR. One of the significance of that tour is that, of course, when you invite or implore men of God to come and see what you have done, it has a way of consolidating the blessings of God upon your life. And for us in Anambra State, we've noticed over the years that the church, irrespective of denomination, is one of the most critical civil society organizations that we have been working with, that helps to reshape and promote what government is doing, and also at the same time criticize what government is doing. So in this sense, they came to see what has happened, the lighthouse, as it's presently called, the Solution Fund City. By the way, the Solution Fund City will be having its grand opening on the 28th of this month, precisely Saturday. So those are wonderful and commendable things that our dear governor has done in the state. So at this point, we are not just clapping for our dear governor, we are imploring him to do more, because we want to see a beautiful Anambra. We want to see a wholly transformed Anambra, where people will live happily, enjoy their money, and also feel free to move around at any time they want. Then again, rape cases. You know, oftentimes people always give this stupid justification. Indecent and all of that. That is a culture of lack of self-control. However, it's also good now this time na caution parents, most especially, it's an invitation. Na caution our girl child. Because for dog so those invitations, why we commend the judiciary, the process, the institutions of government in bringing such anomalies to book. It's also important that we admonish parents to biko especially in the peteli, you know. Of course, na nke petroleum pump price rally no on Friday no, yeah, I think on Friday 880 or so.
And Abuja is selling 925.
Na say na odugwaka this reform and fuel subsidy removal in the long run, I have the positive effect. Man, a long run. Within the interim, then we go improvement. And then make on Sunday can't touch it because the economy were called. So you will take 10,000. It's sick. Touch it. And I touches the onion for no 10 point something liters. Nsi again whenever you bet the price of because they are 970 nsi akekwa ni ihe na-eme una ye chekwado ka mmadụ ṅụọ mmiri n'obodo tọgbu iko, you know. It's on amapu obi today pota for something, the next day when you would have budgeted and made plans for your how to manage the meager resources before you know it, a chunk of the percentage of the money will go back to fuel, because without movement fuel adron webinar so those are I don't really know, but I mean, while we in one hand we begin to celebrate that the federal government is doing the right thing, and before it and once there is increase in petroleum pump price, every other thing begins to follow suit, because all motor car and the transport moto fuel, sorry. Fuel increase go. Therefore, the burden of that increase on those people. Exactly. And then in the Jezela Himo bodo sigo from 100 naira about 200 naira ọ pụta nwa ube na ọka anụ mmadụ na-eji aghọla ada o increase kwa so na ihe na-eme na not work but it's fine. Yeah.
And I think it has to do with these Straits of Hormuz. You know, the world's most vital oil transit route with about 20 to 30% of global oil trade. As a result of
why I don't want to go there is that we've actually not also optimize the benefits of the current or work between Iran and Israel, because at the moment we are celebrating that we have a local refinery, the Dangote refinery, and then again we don't want to look at the lies that have been told about Warri and other both Kaduna refineries. I remember that one of the campaign promises of Buhari in 2014-15 is that the refineries were working at 60% capacity, and that once they come in, you know, but sadly, the whole 8 years was spent, and all we kept hearing was Tebenoga Ademma. And once we get to a situation of Tebenoga Ademma, so now the problem, we have a local refinery. So at this point, I was saying the name again, or when it affects, rather we should be celebrating because and waiting crude from Eba. That is what the layman is being told anyway. And then waiting crude for it to be refined. And at the end of the day, a war in Middle East shouldn't be affecting the prices of the local products in Nigeria. Maybe affected, but in fact, it should even be affecting us positively. Because if we're exporting crude, as it were, what that means is that at this Iran will not be supplying its quota again. So that quota will be shared among the OPEC leading nations. And which now increase the number of barrels we supply, and then also increase the price of the crude, because the demand for crude will always be higher than the supply of crude. So I don't want to go because the politics around the oil in Nigeria is one that needs to be
you can drop your messages on Facebook right there. We'll read it out at Anambra Broadcasting Service. You can call as well on the number 0808-487-2166.
You can call us on 0706-5381-320 to join the conversation. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Saint Badmus from New.
Saint Badmus.
Jesse Woki.
Good to hear from you again.
I don't know between Iran and Israel. In the Bay, I like to take advantage of ourselves. I think I get close to the Strait of Hormuz. We close to the if we tear the fuel, now go on in Iraq. I get making more money. Federal government is going to make more money from it, and which the citizens are going to pay more. So what I'm suggesting that I will go continue, because I'm in the so-called ceasefire. Iran strike, Israel strike back. So almost like the ceasefire. So the only thing the federal government should do is to now continue fuel so to a Tibogo, and we can consider Tibogo na minimum wage. That's it. Because if you have Tibogo subsidy now, they may not agree. So how Tibogo na minimum wage? About 200,000 euro. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for your contribution.
Someone else is here. Hello. Champions, your name and location.
Ambassador
All right, Ganiro.
That month is in a city on a minimum wage. In case you are Because the local government in Nigeria and I and we are tired of my Jaya story in the government of APC made Nigeria. Mekeni sana kano roterichi anozo. Aya na-eme onwe anyị caricature, na-eme onwe anyị news, na-eme film na Nigeria. Ele 40 naira, echi eleta 100 naira. One nation about that. Who is the civil who? Who is the civil who in this country? Nigeria. One not who are our professors? It's in Nigeria with the professors. Who are there? These things are named. Ndị na-agụwala akwụkwọ tụwa tụle dị ka nwanne anyị nwoke gawara obodo afụdobe from Ogugi. Keziba ute a na-eme eresel 800, one nature 715, one nature 62. What are our refineries are doing?
Please, you have to please.
All right, thank you. Okay, we have a message on Facebook from Jeffy Emeka. Says, good morning everyone in the studio. My name is Emeka Umunaga. Please, government needs to change the subsidy price because that's not what increased price. Okay, my brother, please bring this statement together so we get to understand what you're trying to say.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, Ikechuku calling from our person, local government of Federal State.
You're welcome, Ikechuku. Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, studio. I'm actually Kubuna. Yeah, and the federal government in the Kuna. Yeah, one and on. Hello, Metuta, a good man in Palais. Among them, over like where did you go? You took it at some 3 stations and you go 1,000 naira just because of it. But the college no Yadika, refineries, or Bogwana, no Naira, or the Wamka, federal government have Ambone, Guanyesu, Yaguanyesu. If I do people, also I can take a little.
Thank you very much. And then I'm moving over to the national dailies now. From the Punch, neck crisis, PDP governors, INEC talks, ending stalemate. 2031 presidency, Tinubu's successor tussle, fears 2027 VP slot battle.
I don't understand. We are from talking about 2027 talking about 2031.
And that's after 2027.
And Nigerians are still
beyond 2027. That's Nigeria for you. Tinubu National Assembly face criticism over 2024 budget extension. OPS economic slam federal government over budget delays. Government eyes December as low revenue stalls 2024-2025 budgets. These are the trending ones from Punch.
And from Nigerian Tribune, INEC, PDP meets behind closed door over National Secretary position. Senators bemoan for the extension of 2024 budget implementation to December 31st. SIC probe asks whether Nigeria is broke. These are the stories from Nigerian Tribune.
Okay, from Daily Trust, just one headline there. INEC to PDP adhere to Supreme Court judgment.
And on The Guardian, Tinubu, farmer-herder conflicts, an opportunity to structure social stability, food security. 53 suspects arrested over Benue Plateau killing, says IGP. Lagos to begin digital numbering of houses from July 1st. On 2024-2025 fiscal policy crisis, project funding execution stall over poor budget implementation. Federal government, Lagos, Ekiti, to check obstacles hindering ease of doing business. And Hyprep yet to attain 80% restoration of Ogoni polluted environment. Fresh PDP Labour Party defections to APC as opposition parties battle internal crisis. These are the stories from The Guardian.
Okay, over now to the Independent. PDP vows to resolve national scribe dispute after meeting INEC. Party chieftains hit Adamagam for denigrating Olagunaba. Again, said it extends 2024 budget implementation till December. To boost growth, Tinubu vows nationwide infrastructure push, pledges expanding livestock economy for jobs, food security. Tinubu rejects a National Assembly Library Trust Fund bill, cites legal concerns. 2027, Barrow warns group, urging Tinubu to pick him as running mate. SDP suspends national chairman, 2 others over alleged embezzlement. Then I remain national chairman, says Gabon. Then Nigeria, Brazil seal $1 billion agri-defense, energy, food security deal. And finally, mystery surrounding president's academic record deepens. That's from Atiku. Over down to...
And
okay, you have another one.
yes, finally from the Daily Times. That's the last we have here. It says on the banner headline, "Who is your national secretary?" Yakubu asks PDP. Rep summon health minister over alleged misuse of funds. 10 dies, cause injured in Ibadan multiple accident. Army cautions Southeast residents on manipulated content. Senate extends implementation of 2024 budget to December. Mother of 12, our constitution guarantees freedom of movement coming from Kaduna government. FAN AAN moves to automate airports fully, bans cash payment. Then Lufthansa on the fire as passengers report missing phones on board. Says it feels like a scam coming from a victim. These are the stories from the National Dailies this morning.
All right, before you come in this way, sorry, you're breaking the rule. If you break the rule, we'll break your call. Back to the analyst in the studio.
Okay. I mean, at times when you reel out those headlines, you'll be wondering, Keba is waiting here on Unuku.
You have to start from somewhere.
Kendi PDP. I mean, this issue of their leadership tussle. I think now you know Hanobia. Now, where I have a concern, a major concern, but the growing insecurity, the nationwide, which indirectly will also affect the produce we get from our farms, because when you have headers, farmers clashes, automatically all your dendo na eje n'ugbo enwepu cases of unreported cases of otu ụmụnwaanyị esi wee jesi na ugbo ha ịkọ ihe and all of that, and they get raped by these marauders kpọrọ onwe ha herdsmen and all of that. And by the time you also look at the event of last week or 13, I think 13, of Yelewata nke dị na Benue State. You look at it again, if you nke me na Kaduna, ndị si Kaduna eje Plateau State.
Yeah.
So ihe anyị na ya na Nigeria bụ chibo emegini anụ ọzọ, and the chibo anụ ọzọ abụrụ na kita na chibo eteta n'ụtụtụ ọbụna igolu fuel 970 onya epeta n'ụtụtụ anụ asịzị no 800, you know. I had a positive news, now but also news of killing and insecurity. And then there's this rhetoric from government all the time that we are doing this, that the culprits will be apprehended. Now efforts are on top gear. Now a committee has been set up, and the perpetrators of those crimes will be arrested and will be dealt with severely. That is the kind of story you keep hearing every day. And now the sad part of it is that there is no feedback between telling the citizens, telling the victims of this crime, telling the whole world that yes, a crime was committed in a particular place, and we have set up an investigating committee or panel of inquiry, as it were, and they have found A, B, C, D, and the cause of this thing, they've identified the remote causes. They've also identified the immediate cause, and they have put measures in place so that that thing will not happen again. And for those who perpetrated the crime, they've been caught, they've been sentenced to jail, or they've been tried and persecuted.
Yes.
I had no the alcohol. Imam Funata, government can never, with all due respect, be accountable for ihe na name. We keep hearing rhetorics. I say na well prior intelligence before the event happened. The next thing, the army staff, I say well prior intelligence. No, you know. So all I want to say in this is that beyond, yes, we have seen that na onye teto toto jesie nata ojenu no kanye testimony because no nukwu ihe melie. But then why this is happening, we should see practical steps. Yes, in Anambra State, I commend the present administration in Anambra State simply because at the end of the day, security is a collective responsibility. If you see something, you say something. Nke aburo nke na follow mmadụ ma ọ na follow ebe group no e mara ihe ha na-eme, you don't know their ihe anụwa gba ha ama ka ndogo change. So that is one thing that the entire country has to imbibe because these headers on communities has settled. And with the intelligence report, how often or how quick or how swift can our security agencies in Emegini na act to make sure that this bloodshed doesn't come out? Then for because I said oku review na dibaka onyala inekwu ozo na bagon
the scramble for the next VP 2027 2031.
You know, when we do political...
When we see how issues on ground in this country.
Hold on.
Security issues, food inflation, a lot of things are happening, and we're talking about 2031.
When we sit down to do political permutation at times, I'll just be wondering, yeah. First.
Oh, yes.
But no, our politicians are that called Gama. Onye obuna onye ya no na nke anụwa. Afọ ejuana. Onye no na nke ono. Ona eche maka nke o ya grab kwa echi. And that is why the issue of governance takes the backstage. Because it's all about politics.
Yeah.
Ihe anyị ga-enweta wee kwụọ ndụ wee amansa the entire wealth. Ọ ya bụ mgbe ọ ya bi amansigide amansisia ụmụ otolite elepiasia ihe niile. You understand? So the place of governance becomes a very serious concern because they are not interested in what governance. They are not interested in building sustainable infrastructure that will begin to move the economy forward. No. How do I amass enough wealth so that I will be able to contest or lobby for a bigger position going forward?
Kleptocracy and the kakitocracy.
But then, it one thing, especially with events of about last year's 2000 and some other years, I'm not trying to call names, but we saw incidences where prominent, very prominent politicians, Alaro, etc., and where complications and all of that.
Yeah.
So that alone should be an invitation to people to know that it's not about don't plan for while it's also good to do plan for your future. It's also important to know that you don't have an absolute control of such future. And when you have an opportunity, what you should be giving to your people is the dividend of democracy and not the dividend of the future.
Okay, even the Bible says you should live your life now like there's no tomorrow.
Of course, you know.
Hello.
Yeah,
Good morning.
Good morning.
Go on, Ikechu.
Yes, I was laughing in Swahili.
Well,
Okay.
laugh in Nigeria, please.
Okay.
Yeah, yes. The analyst, the most in and have to go about petroleum sector. I want to go positive change. And I say now Nigeria I can marry the now emergence of a Tinubu and Dangote in what they are doing in that area. Somebody's in Tinubu F9 in governance. Maybe one in politics. Nigeria is like a water Iran or Koiva. No, in America and Israel and Iraq. Now, all nothing that will say now control no go on now. All in our one and no affect. And a war, I mean, and any affect. Pasta na sugar na prawn even in the Dangote na alo. Or the same war will increase it. Somebody will open a professor over there, especially those people who follow over economics and whatever. Can somebody tell me how many liters of petrol, diesel, kerosene can be gotten from 1 barrel of crude oil?
You know,
And they take
seconds, so
how will I refine this thing? They go to a liter of diesel, kerosene in Nigeria. Can they go to a source of petrol on Abatu? Diesel Abatu, kerosene Abatu. And the what was also on petrol, Rapo diesel. We are making the necessary
Hello. Good morning.
35 seconds.
Good morning, dear.
Good morning. Your name and location.
I'm Jude calling from Nibo.
All right, go on, Jude. You have 35 seconds.
Okay, I want to talk on high rate of insecurity in Nigeria and the people, as IGP said, they captured.
Yes.
Now the problem with Nigeria, why can't we be proactive instead of being reactive? When things are finished happening, we start reacting. Whereas we would have been proactive. Look at USA, sending red alert to Nigeria, to their citizens in Nigeria about insecurity. And we thought it's just a joke. Look at the USA knew that Nigeria has alliance with Iran, and the possibility that they will react to USA striking Iran. They sent alert immediately to their citizens to be aware and careful of themselves. Why can't we prevent certain things in Nigeria? Every day we continue to hear the same story. Death, killing, this whatever invasion here and there. Because in Nigeria. When shall we start being proactive instead of reactive? Thank you.
Thank you.
That's your question.
Jude.
I don't know if you have any answer to that one.
Proactive
instead of reactive.
And that is why we talk about or we advocate for strong institutions.
Yeah.
When you have strong institutions, we become more proactive than reactive.
Yeah.
That institutional failure is also what has led to us in Nigeria extending the life of our 2024 budget to 2025. Also, in Nigeria, gonna get a country now operating two budgets in a single financial year. And sadly, since this government MLA na 2022, MLA na 2023, MLA na 2024, kita no on abakwa na 2025. So it's so sad, and I don't know if the National Assembly should also mandate its committee on appropriation so that the two of them, the both chambers, what is even the cause of this delay? And the sad reality is that the delay we're talking about, or the fund and the about 13 point something trillion naira. So in all of this, when capital funds are not released for capital projects, now infrastructure, where intervene. So all of that is a concern, and that is why you need strong institutions, so that at the end of the day, irrespective of who is there, irrespective of whose ox is God, you can always have the institution of government driving those processes without actually waiting for a single individual. And that is why when you talk about building strong institutions, you notice that places like or countries like United States of America, irrespective of who becomes the president, they have a policy agenda. Onye ọbụla batana na pursue ya vigorously, irrespective of the body language, because ọbụna anyị asụlụ Igbo body language, anyị asụọ na onye nwe politics A1 but governance 0. Interestingly, for all of the things happening at the moment, we can see that we have an A1 politician and governance. You know.
And the other one,
so,
governance.
but I called the one.
Okay, I will have hello. Good morning. You have 35 seconds. Your name and location.
That 5 seconds was just how you can change. I'm able to Kenya since 2000, year 2000, well, video can radio. When we look at the radio, Nigeria, Banana, I just jump to the guys, Ogushina, Kampokan is 2000, Lukweta. You want to look from Kurivo Mamelugo, Nigeria. Even before more doesn't Nigeria, they say Lukweta. What is that? When we look you all make it in Nigeria, for that, go one day, I radio can look and praise.
Okay.
Also, you know, Jolona, since 2000 now, we give him
no, some person can
here the neighbor, I was just count your blessings and name them one by one. You see that. So, for anyone then do ever know, he's a chuku. For a sustained democracy, I will go since 1999 till Tata, he's a chuku. For the little improvement, I will go. For the politics, he benefit him and the other benefit you. I is a chuku. And well, other institutions I need build. They are all gradually. But the problem is, on I take here one step forward, I take here 10,000 steps backward.
Wow. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, name and location.
For an hour.
Hello, Chinedu.
You must have go for a lot. Let ndị kwukwu maka ndị ụfọdụ na-eji ọrụ Igbo na-efe na-eji okwu akatara gara enwekawo ndị ọrụ mkpọrọ na-arụ ọrụ anyị na-agbanwuchi fuel every time mmakwasara ya agwụ na ego ya agwụ na esa ya agwụ ego moto sọmakwa ya naanị ndị ọrụ si na-eji ọrụ a ndị ike ụgwọ ọrụ ọdịkwa anyị si ka maka ndị ọkwadụzi onye ụfọdụ nwere ike iji ọrụ katara okwu gara ya na agba chetakwa na nwa na nwa nwoke nwadụ ka a na-eme ihe ya ka ọ tụrụ.
All right, thank you. And we want to thank you for coming. Okay, we'll have a message. Let's quickly look at that before we get on. Good morning, distinguished moderators. Every present administration in Nigeria puts this energy they are using to discuss 2027 and put in combating crimes. We will be like America. Thanks, sir. That's from Sakenet Ndubisioka for Sake from Umueze. Sake, thank you, and we want to thank you for coming. Onyeka Ebenebe, thanks for lending your thoughts to the headlines of today's press review.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
You're welcome. And my name is Uchechukwu Ebonam.
And I'm Roy. Thank you also for being a part of the conversation this morning. At 9 o'clock, we'll be on to Zuko Anambra.